Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be a little bit different and was filmed quite a long time ago, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. It's a trip to Arundel that I took back in November 2022. I like the way I added this photo in at some point, just in case I forgot where I was. So anyway, as I said before, this is a slightly different video to what I've done in the past. I decided to do this one a bit like a sort of Jago video, I suppose. You won't see me at all on the screen, but you'll see hopefully some sights and sounds of Arundel. So I hope you enjoy. So when I went to Arundel, it was just been a very wet time, and as you can see the River Arun was very high. Also the tide was coming in, so actually it looks like the water is flowing upstream. I'm now on the north side of the Arun, having just crossed the bridge that you see there. One of the first things that you spot on this side of the river are the ruined remains of Blackfriars, which used to be a Dominican priory. Little is known about the priory, except that it was built in the early 13th century and was later dissolved by Henry VIII along with all the other monasteries. But it is good to be able to walk in the ruins though. I think I was trying something arty here, I'm not really quite sure. Here's a view of it from the riverside. I then started walking up the High Street. One of the most prominent buildings that you see is the Norfolk Arms, obviously named after the Dukes of Norfolk who live at the castle. At the top of the High Street is this rather impressive gatehouse, which I think is a 19th century recreation, as is much of the castle. The other prominent building in the town is the rather impressive Catholic cathedral, dedicated to Our Lady and St Philip Howard. The architect was George Hansom, more famous perhaps for inventing the hansom cab. As you can see, the interior is stunning and is built in a French Gothic style. Historically, the Howard family, who are the Dukes of Norfolk, have remained Catholic throughout history, and the 15th Duke of Norfolk commissioned the church in 1868. It later became a cathedral in 1965. I'll now show a few pictures and videos of the interior of the cathedral, and I think you'll agree it's a very fine example of Victorian architecture. Close to the cathedral is the Anglican parish church of St Nicholas, largely built from 1380, but there are traces of earlier stonework within some of the walls. Under this archway, you can see what looks like a typical medieval parish church built for a prosperous town and port, but as you'll see soon, it has what I think is a unique situation, at least within England. Internally, from first glance, it appears to be a fine example of a late medieval church, just like it does on the outside. It also has a number of medieval wall paintings that survive, although long faded. These would have been whitewashed at the Reformation and were subsequently rediscovered during Victorian renovations. Originally, they would have been vibrant in colour and would have shown many biblical scenes, especially important as much of the congregation would not have been able to read. Looking east, and there's the first sign that this church is unusual. The chancel appears to be blocked off. There's something behind this grille. Let's take a look. The church's chancel was originally used by a small college of canons. However, at the Reformation, it was seized along with the priory buildings by the 12th Duke of Arundel, Henry FitzAlan, and subsequently became the private property of the Earl and his descendants. Today, it serves as the burial place of the Dukes of Norfolk and has remained Catholic. It cannot be accessed from the Anglican parish church, but only via the castle. For many years, where the grille was a wall. I believe it's still very rare the gate is opened. Looking here, there's a door above another door. I think this must have been access to the rood screen, which pre-Reformation would have separated the parish church from the collegiate chancel. Here you can see the exquisite pulpit, contemporary with the church's foundation in 1380. The church's website describes this royal coat of arms as exceptionally large. Walking out of the church and looking left towards the Victorian gatehouse of the castle, just to the left there, you might get a glimpse of the 12th century circular keep on its motte. Turning around from the castle, we are now going down Maltravers Street, today full of wonderful houses dating largely from Georgian and Victorian times, but previously the host of weekly cattle markets. I don't know about the truth of this, but when I was 11, we had a school trip to Arundel, and I was told by my geography teacher that the cutting was made in the road here to make it easier for Queen Victoria's coach to travel up the hill to the castle. Does anyone know if this is true? Let me know in the comments. I then walked down King's Arms Hill, past the King's Arms pub, well, unsurprisingly, and then into Tarrant Street, which runs parallel with Maltravers Street. This street is much less grand than Maltravers Street, and it's quite clear to me that Queen Victoria's coach was never going to go up here, especially with all the building work going on. As many will probably know, Arundel is famous for its antiques and independent shops, and as you can see here, a number of the commercial buildings have been repurposed. This bookshop at the bottom of the high street is a proper treasure trove, and is unsurprisingly full of books. I just thought I'd film a little in one of the upstairs rooms to show just a very small selection of some of the books that you can buy. I could definitely spend hours in a place like this. And then, all too soon, I had to head back to the station, crossing back over the Arun. I love this mural in the underpass under the main road by the station. The main station building at Arundel is one of those solid, unpretentious buildings favoured by the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway in the 1860s, solid and imposing, but no real frills. The platforms and their canopies are similar. Note that the opposite platform once had tracks on both sides. I think trains must have terminated here once upon a time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video from me. Normal service will be resumed next time. Please do like, subscribe and leave me some comments, and you never know, I might actually edit some more videos soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Welcome aboard the Southern Service to London, Victoria.